Hey guys, it's trailer maintenance day. Am I close enough? We'll see. Might be able to wiggle her on there. All right, let's go put this right back. You'll see what these little wood blocks are for in a little bit. Even more so, the amount of money that sits on top of this trailer. It's important that the trailer is in good shape. I know there's better ways to do this. I can hear everybody in the background. Matt, get a block of wood. Get a block of wood. Yep, that works. So does that. And if you have your own methods and procedures, I just want you to know I'm proud of you. Hey guys, it's trailer maintenance day. It's kind of an overcast day. It's hot. It's hot down here in Florida. We got some work to do on this trailer just to keep her in tip-top shape, you know, so she's ready to go at a moment's notice when I have to go fetch the Bonnie Lee. But this is where it sits most of the time, just out here in the side yard in the sun. So there's a couple things we do every time we go out with it to the salt water, and then just some routine maintenance to keep up with everything. So today we're going to be pulling this trailer out of here, mowing the grass underneath, getting it jacked up, get those tires off the ground, do our wheel bearing inspections, the grease, check out our brake system, get the wheels all covered up, get everything buttoned down, so that way when it's ready to come out the next time, it's ready to go without any worries. So stick around, lots to do. Let's get after it. So before we really get into this project, we're going to get the truck coupled up here to the trailer, pull her on out, get this spot mowed, put the trailer back, then we can start doing some of our routine service work. Now as you watch this video, I just want you to know this is the way I do it. And if you have your own methods and procedures and different tools and all that stuff, I just want you to know I'm proud of you. This is the way I'm going to do it. So come along, let's see how well I can back this thing up. Got a couple things I got to do first, though. The first step, I need to go back and get my keys for the lock. Now that I got my keys that I actually need, we can go ahead and start the process. I know what you're going to say. These things are junk. I agree with you. It's not the fix-all, save-all, end-all of this trailer not getting stolen or stolen. But it's just one little extra thing maybe as a deterrent. I do grease this stuff. You know, keep this stuff greased because it sits out here. Keep this greased up as well, your key. Because you see how it gets all that rust on there. Keep it lubricated. Just like you keep your ball lubricated too. Put a little grease cover on it so you don't get it all over your pant legs. Yeah, that should be good enough. All right, let's back this thing in. Am I close enough? We'll see. Might be able to wiggle her on there. Oh, missed it by that one. Maybe she's a little jiggle. Look at there. Alright. Not the greatest safety. We're going to put that tongue lock down. We're just going to raise it up a little bit. Make sure that the trailer and the back of the truck are coming up together. Then you know it's at least locked in here. We're not going to be going down the road. We're just going to be pulling it forward like a mower, but we're still going to put the safety lock in there. Just keep up with our good trailering practices, even if it's just here in the side yard. Now, I'm not going to fully raise this up, but let's just go ahead and give us a little bit more ground clearance here. Now see, if we were really going to go, we put our safety chains on, Make sure they're crisscrossed, you know. Because if this thing does pop off, you want it to land on that cross. You don't want it to land between the gaps if they were parallel. Emergency brake, 7-pin. This is a good way to check all your lights while we're doing the service work. But all right, let's go ahead and drag this boy forward a little bit so we can bump. All right, I don't really want to show it. I got a messy garage. But who always has a pristine garage? Who always has a pristine garage when you're always working on stuff? So I want to show you something. This is kind of fun. Make sure we can do this without losing everything off the bench. It never fails. As soon as they get everything all cleaned up in here and all spiffy up, not long comes another project. But I know it's organized chaos, I promise you. Portable workbenches here. I can put them together as a table, lengthwise, whatever. But I don't know. Let's see. We're winging the video, guys. You're along for a journey. A day in the life. Looky there. It's electric too. I care about the environment. Get a battery. Somewhere in Blue Mississippi. This is the Ego electric mower. I got the trimmer and the blower and stuff like that. Big old, I think this is a 56 volt. I've had this now, I want to say 6 years or so. And she does just fine. The only problem is, if you leave the batteries on the charger too long, they go into like a safety mode. They don't take a charge. So this has been on the charger for weeks, but it's only got 2 bars on it. But that's all we're going to need for mowing that little spot. Come on, let's go get after it. Oh, do we got enough room? Oh, she'll get in here. All right. I'm going to go put this away, actually, and then I'll be back. Alright, let's go put this right back. You'll see what these little wood blocks are for in a little bit. Just about put her in the back, same spot, but you see I'm moving over just a little bit every time I do this. Get her on hook jacked up. Leave that with the plug-in facing down versus having it up here. Water can get in there, you know, corrode that out. Let it face down. A little bit better chance. You can put a cover over it or something. Pull this truck forward a little bit. Put that bad boy back on there. Again, if you're just now tuning in, yeah, these aren't the best things in the world. There's better solutions. But you'll only forget to put that on once. We're going to need these later. Alright, so before I begin doing the trailer bearings, I'm going to get this thing ready to be stowed for a long period of time, which means getting these wheels up off the ground, jacking the trailer up, putting some jack stands under it, doing the wheel bearing service, and then we'll put the wheel covers on to help prevent some dry rot. So stick around, a little bit more to go. I know there's better ways to do this. This is what I got. We got a floor jack. Not the most convenient thing to drag around the grass. But it works. I don't have to spend anything extra for anything extra. I don't have to have ramps. All right. That's some jack stands here. That's what the pieces of wood for in the grass. Some people will debate whether or not you should store your trailer up off the ground or not. You know what? From what I've known my entire life, I don't seem to have any issues with tires or bearings mostly. So the process seems to work. Although, admittedly a pain in the butt. The good thing is I got the tongue up. Doesn't really matter where that's at if it's centered. The trailer's tilted, so I got some clearance on that side, but not enough on this side. Well, we just tip. Tip and done. No big deal. Except for, let's see. All right, all 4 tires off the ground when it settles down. Slowly. Looks good. Clearance, 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 clearance. That's all we need, right? All right, let's get this put away. Drag it back. All right, so the trailer's all jacked up. Everything should be pretty free spinning. Tires should be pretty free spinning. We're getting ready to just inspect our bearings in here and the grease. Now I know when I did the service on this and put all brand new bearings and everything out, how many times it's been in and out of the salt water, my post salt water care of everything. You know, so I know the trailer. I know what I should expect. Right now I shouldn't expect anything. Maybe just to add some more grease. If I see water in here, we're going to evaluate that a little bit more. And one of your good practices when you're out there towing your boat trailers, or any trailer for that matter, you know, after you've been driving it and trailering it and start-stop traffic and highway use and stuff like that, just come back and feel these hubs. You know, maybe the back of your hand, you know, like a hot pot. It might be a little warm, but they shouldn't be cooking. If they're cooking, you got something else going on inside. Either a bearing that's getting ready to fail, a race that's scored and overheating, lack of grease. It could be a whole bunch of different things, but these should be warm but not scalding hot. First thing I'm going to do, just to get a reference point, is I'm going to wiggle the tire. If I get any slop in this hub, that tells me I got a little bit more I got to look out for. That's nice and tight, no slop. Wheels free spinning, a little bit of drag on the brakes, but that's kind of why I'm out here in the first place. Nothing on that one, nothing on that one. All right. Now there's always a couple tools that you're pretty much going to be guaranteed to need when you come out and do this. Of course, you know how these projects go, all the back and forth trips to the garage and your tool bags and where everything's all scattered about. But at the very least, you may want a pair of channel locks just in case you got to tighten up that castle nut in there. A pair of needle nose pliers, pull out the pin. A couple different flathead screwdrivers to pop this cap. Rubber mallet. You don't want to be banging on this with a metal hammer. Your bearing grease of choice. I use green grease, marine grease. It's really high temperature, does great with the salt water. I've never had a problem losing a bearing from overheat ever since using that stuff. And I don't get the sling that some of the other high temp axle greases can get. Of course, you want some towels. And if you're a little wuss like me, some gloves. Now I could easily just pull. See, that's what happens. Stuff just goes flying on you, and then you don't know where it is. Especially those number 10, the 10mm sockets. I could pull this center off. We'll do it both ways here. Pull this off, get a look inside. There's a grease fitting right here. I can see my key. I can see all that grease is still kind of blue and green. There's no evidence of water in there. Study this camera. I'm looking not at the camera, I'm looking at the actual wheel. So on a visual inspection, this is picture perfect. I don't see a bunch of contaminated grease in there from overheating or other contaminants that might be getting in from the seal, the axle seal on the back. So what I am going to do though is I see plenty of grease. I see it slinging around just fine. I am going to give it a couple extra pumps just to keep it going. It should be very apparent by now in this video I am not a professional YouTuber or anything. I got a camera phone, I got a tripod. I'm a little bit of a redneck that's trying to do some work, so it is what it is. Maybe not the best, maybe not your cup of tea. Oh, see? Getting sidetracked talking to you guys. Now let's just make sure we don't introduce new contaminants in here. Come on, now get on here. There she goes. A lot of guys will overload these. There's a spring in here that keeps pressure on a diaphragm, keeps that grease up against those bearings. And a lot of guys will over-pressurize these things, and you have a risk of blowing out the rear seal. I'm just waiting for that spring to move just a little bit in there, that diaphragm to come back. This isn't the best grease gun either. Might even need to go get a new tube of grease. Yeah, there's some in there yet. That little bit of noise is just a little bit of brake pad drag. That's kind of common with surge brakes. We're going to take this one off, do the same thing. We'll put that one over here. Now I'm not going to mess with this camera again, but kind of the same thing as before. I'm looking in there. I got fresh grease, no water, no discoloration. This grease should be green. It's still green. I'm not trying to put a bunch in there. Just enough until I see it start to, the spring inside start to move a little bit. And then call it good. That's about what, 15, 18 pumps if you guys were counting. Now, a lot of guys, I see a lot of trailers, they have this style grease keeper, bearing buddy, and they'll lose this. When you lose it, you allow water in there, allows the grease to sling out. So when you're doing your walk-arounds, make sure all this stuff's intact. Get that grease going around a little bit. Alright, let's go do the other side. Looks like we're in pretty good shape. We don't have to really use much of anything else. Alright, same thing. Let's listen, see if there's any slop in the bearing. Nothing. Nothing. Well, this one's got a very minute amount. I will check the castle nut on this side just to see if it can be cinched up one little tube. Gotta go grab some of my other stuff though. Back one a little bit more thoroughly here. That vibration can lead to failure of that bearing. A little bit is okay. I'm not overly concerned about it because I do check the temperatures of these hubs and they don't ever get hot. Again, we come in, it's nice and green, no water, no brake dust. Everything looks good. We are going to give it a couple shots of grease. On the Zerk fitting, if you guys break those Zerk fittings, this one is part of the axle, so if that ever breaks or if it gets a problem, you gotta replace the axle. Well, you don't have to, but it seems to be more cost effective just to do it that way. What it is on the spindle, that Zerk fitting's on the end of the spindle, and there's some holes where the bearings sit. So when you squirt grease in it, it comes out where the bearings are actually at. It is kind of handy versus having to pull the bearings out, repack them. Now you want to do that on your bigger services, but you don't have to do all that. Now if this grease was all dirty, where I had water in there, I'd be pulling the cap off, pulling the bearings out, cleaning everything up, repacking them, you know, the whole 9 yards. Now this one, since it's not a huge concern, I'm going to go ahead and pop this bearing cover off. If she doesn't want to give up the ghost, so to say, I'm not going to fool with it too much. Slowly work it around. Now you can hit this just like that. Nice and light. Nothing. You don't want to dent that. Work it off. There. All right. Let's bring you down here. See that grease in there? We'll try to get this in post-production. That grease in there looks pretty good. A little bit of rust from that cover right here, though. I don't want that rust in there. See that knocked off inside there? I really should come back and clean this up, and I probably will. All right, so we got just a little bit of slop in here. Needle nose pliers. See that trick? Not really a trick, kind of common knowledge. I could go try to find the right size socket for this, but basically just going to index it in one tooth. And I might have to go two. Yeah, you don't want to over tighten these. That's putting pressure on that bearing assembly in there, the bearings against the races. You don't want it to be so tight that you're creating a lot of friction, heat. Alright, so that looks better. Pro tip, you should replace that with a brand new one. Again, you do you, I'll do me. Get that back in there. All right. Let's put this thing in. I'm reluctant to sand it because that just makes the metal even more prone to rust. As you can see, there's no grease in that end, which what I'm going to do. We're just going to put a little in there just to slow that down. Eventually, I'll just replace those caps because the caps are cheap enough. We'll just coat that up, keep that at bay a little bit. Till the next one. Go ahead and put some squirts in here. About 15, 16 in there. Get that working around. Because she's going to be sitting here now. I don't want it all pulled up in one spot. Slowly. I can hear everybody in the background. Matt, get a block of wood. Get a block of wood. Yeah, that works. So does that. All right, we got one more little project to do here. Well, we got to service the hydro fluid, and then we're going to cover up these wheels. All right, for this part, we're just doing a regular, like a service, not like a full-on redo of everything, but a couple things here. This is a surge brake system. It's got a brake fluid reservoir here. There's a plunger attached to the tongue, and as the truck comes to a stop, the weight on the trailer pushes forward against that piston, surging fluid through the lines to the calipers, and then when you take off from a stop, then that separates, resets the plunger. There is a solenoid back here, electric solenoid, as part of the 7-way harness going to the truck, that when you put it into reverse, I do it like this, but the Rams have a little knob, the old school stuff. When you put it into reverse, turns on the backup lights on the truck. If you have backup lights on the trailer, it'll illuminate those, but then it also activates the solenoid to allow that trailer to still compress when you're backing up. You're backing up, it compresses. That solenoid opens up the relief valve so that way you don't actually start compressing the brakes as you're trying to back up. Easy way to check that, you can send 12-volt power straight to it. On off with 12-volt power, and if you hear that solenoid pulsing, then you have a pretty good idea that it's working. Another way to tell that it's not working is you can drive forward just fine, but the moment you try to drive back, it's a lot of resistance because the solenoid is still compressing and the solenoid is not working. But we're just going to be checking some brake fluid. There is a grease point on here that we're going to service as well, but we got to get underneath this cap right here. So just to make it a little easier, I'm going to set the emergency brake as much as I can. There's no way I have enough strength to compress all of that. Assortment of blades, right? Because you never really know what you're going to need. Little dust cap. This is why channel locks come in handy. You can use them for all kinds of different things. You don't need to have the exact socket for every little thing. Oh, she doesn't want to come. I don't know that I want to force it either, because then we might have a bigger problem than I want. I'm going to have to replace that cap anyway, it looks like. Alright, she doesn't want to come. We're going to have to persuade her a little bit different way. So now the back and forth trips begin. Oh, look, that was the first try. Alright, well. Oh, that's about empty. Give it a little extra squirt. Now in my handy dandy bag, do I have a, I doubt I have a socket in here. Nope, be right back. I think the Ooga Dooga machine would have been too much, huh? We just want to try to get this off. I'm going to have to replace that cap, though. No. I'm just trying to be gentle but steady. I don't want to snap this. There she goes. Goodness. Alright, yeah, we got to clean that up a little bit. Not enough air pressure in the can. Let's build it up a little bit. Okay. So looking at my fluid's pretty full. My fluid's pretty full. I had a, here we go. I don't even know if this works, but this is going to be something I'm going to use to soak some fluid up. What I'm trying to look at is the color here. The brake fluid is clear. So this is brown. It's indicating that there's a little bit of contaminants in there. Not surprised by the amount of rust on this reservoir. And one thing a lot of people don't know about brake fluid is hygroscopic, means it likes to attract moisture, and moisture in brake lines and brake systems, they don't go hand in hand. And that's why it's important that you flush your system routinely, because eventually the air that's getting in there, or any air that was in there, any little leaks anywhere, it's going to be allowing moisture into your system. And just like in my case, it's corroding the system from the inside out. And the only real fix to this is going to be replacing this whole assembly, which we're probably getting to the useful service life of this particular one anyway. So here in the very near future, rather than put a lot of work into doing a full service on this, it's just going to be easier to put a whole brand new one on the trailer. Right now I'll just top off the fluid. Everything else is working fine for the moment. Top off the fluid and put her all back together, and the next big service will replace that. Why do you top off brake fluid if it's a sealed system? Well, because as the brake pads wear and those caliper pistons are squeezing, it's got to take up that distance, so you lose level. You don't lose fluid, you lose level. Now, if I were to put a brand new set of brake pads on there and compress those calipers, reset those calipers, that fluid level would come right back up. We're just going to snug that up just enough that it seals. There's already a crack up on the top here, so I'm just going to put it back together for right now. That's a pretty common part to find at the auto store. Get that. Grease this fitting. That's for the slide. Everything else looks good, and get those wheels all covered up. Just enough to where I start to see it seep out right here and right here, and that's enough. Just clean that up. Some trailer jacks have fittings as well. This one does not. Last thing to do, let's cover up these wheels, keep the sun off of it. You're using your trailer every day, every week, this might not be, but we keep the boat in a dry storage marina. So this trailer will sit for a couple months at a time sometimes before its next use. I just want to make sure that when I need it, she's ready to go at a moment's notice. Even more so, the amount of money that sits on top of this trailer, it's important that the trailer is in good shape. Cinch those down, nothing fancy, just a regular old shoe knot here. You know, the rabbit goes around the tree down the whole pole, just enough to keep the wind from blowing it off. Let's go do the other side. Don't forget to tuck up your loose end so the weed whacker doesn't hit it. Ask me how I know that. Now, getting these tires up off the ground also makes it easier to weed whack without having to worry about hitting them covers. All right. Well, that's it, I guess. You know, we got the trailer jacked up. We mowed, got the trailer jacked up, put the stands under it, checked all the wheel bearings. Luckily, we didn't have to pull anything apart because this is part of the routine, doing this more frequently than not. You don't want to catch this on its way out. You want to catch it before it goes out. And the only way to do that is to put eyes on it as often as you feel comfortable doing. I recommend, you know, about every 10 trips, maybe 10 trips to the water. Of course, you do your post saltwater rinse downs, care, maintenance, things like that. Checking your winches, you know, going through the gambit. You guys know I'm not preaching to anybody that doesn't know this stuff already, but she's ready to go. Next time I need to go pull the boat home, all I gotta do is hook it up, bring it out there, bring the boat back, completely worry free. All right, more to do. Let's get after it.